So we have a very interesting, big breaking news update for you guys, especially if you are fans of Indian football. You are going to love this particular breaking news because Odisha FC, the Indian football club, have scripted some pretty interesting history by qualifying for the semi-finals of the AFC Cup. You heard that right. The AFC Cup, which is essentially the second tier club competition for Asian clubs. Well, it had two Asian clubs, it had two Indian clubs rather taking part in this particular tournament. You had Mohun Bagan Supergiant and you had Odisha FC. Now, Mohun Bagan had, of course, recently been eliminated. Incidentally, both of them were in the same group, but Odisha FC were very much in with a chance of qualifying for the semi-finals. All they had to do, well, what they had to do was pretty simple, really. They just had to win their final group game, that was against the Basundhara Kings, and lo and behold, they managed to actually do it. What this does, rather in this particular case, is ensure that they make it through to the semi-finals. So how it's a bit of an interesting process, rather, how this tournament works, because again, when I was looking at the group table, I thought, okay, they were already guaranteed a top two finish, so maybe they wouldn't have really needed to win this game. But as it turns out, they did kind of have to win this game for one very simple reason, because the group toppers, as well as the best runners-up from groups A, B, and C, were the ones would in fact be making the zonal semi-finals. So the situation that let's say Odisha FC found themselves in as far as the AFC Cup was concerned was, well, a pretty interesting one, in the sense that they pretty much just had to top their group. There was no other alternative for them. They couldn't have relied on a second best finish. They couldn't have hoped for, let's say, making it in 10th place, because again, from group D and group E, F, and G, really. G, in fact, G, H, I, you still had the second place teams qualifying. But in group D, which is Odisha FC's group, they needed to finish on top. And the only way they would have finished on top is if they had, in fact, gotten that victory or gotten points against Basundhara Kings. So what happens here is they are now through to the zonal semi-finals, which means potentially they're only one win really away from being part of really playing a final, which is pretty big when you think about it. Again, it's not something that does in fact happen, let's say, that easily, because Odisha FC are only the seventh club to have actually been able to do this. Again, it's not something that happens all the time. To put things in context, more often than not, Indian clubs, even if they make it to continental tournaments, they will not necessarily, let's say, make it in fact to the knockout rounds. They'll maybe put up a good showing here or there. And to give you an idea of how tough it can be at the continental level, you had a Mumbai City FC qualify, for the they qualified for the AFC Champions League group stages. They were up against teams like Al Hilal and the likes, and they had a pretty torrid outing, to put it politely. And unfortunately for them, they ended up, let's say, not being able to make it into the next round. But the AFC Cup did offer a little bit of a chance to them. In fact, they're only the seventh club to have made it to the AFC Cup knockout stages in 19 years. In fact, in case you're wondering who the other six clubs are, that's East Bengal, Mahindra United, Dempo, Bangalore FC, Mohun Bagan, and Churchill Brothers. Now, again, to put that in context, the clubs like Mahindra United don't exist anymore. Churchill Brothers is playing the I League, which is the second division. Dempo is pretty much only playing domestic Goan football. So a lot of these clubs really are juggernauts. Again, only the seventh Indian club to have actually made it this far. So it's a pretty big achievement when you're looking at Indian football. And why I say it's so big is because when you talk about Indian football, you remember when Arsene Wenger was in India, you kept hearing this thing about, sleeping giant, untapped potential. But untapped potential, sleeping giant, these are kind of terms that are a little hard to quantify. So you can say that yes, India have made some progress when it comes to their football, but not probably moving as fast as the world is. Where do you measure real, genuine progress when it comes to how well you're doing in tournaments? And it's not just necessarily a national team, but if even your clubs are doing well. Again, Odisha FC, as I've said, in previous videos done on this platform itself, they're probably one of the most upwardly mobile clubs in Indian football right now. They won the Super Cup last year, and now they are into the knockout rounds of the AFC Cup as well, which is massive. Again, the Super Cup you can still write off and say it's a tournament not a lot of clubs care about, but the AFC Cup, that's big. That's very big, especially when you consider that the second club, Indian club rather, who was part of this particular tournament, it was Mohun Bagan, and they couldn't make it out of this group. In fact, they didn't even finish in the top two. So Odisha FC have done a marvelous thing, and one would hope that they can continue this good form on in the knockouts as well, continue playing the way they've played. Right now, their ISL form has been a bit patchy. They're currently only 5th in the table, which is good enough to qualify for the playoffs, but not necessarily good enough to be in that top bracket. That being said, there's plenty of time. Still, they could improve there, but this AFC Cup result is going to be a big boost. They beat Basundhara Kings thanks to a header in the 60th minute from Murtada foul, and it is a big night. So congratulations to Odisha FC. Congratulations to fans of Odisha FC, who of course have been turning out in big numbers at the Kalinga Stadium as well to support the club. Big kudos to you guys. It's thanks to your support that the club have made it to this point, and we hope to get plenty more good news like this from the Indian football circuit. That's the breaking news update for you guys, though. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoy our work, please don't forget, like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment as well. Tap the bell icon. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, well, then go right ahead and check out some other videos we've done. But now, though, from my side, it's good night and goodbye.